This is such an important issue for our communities, and I come from a district in Northeast Indiana that is very diverse, a lot of rural areas, a lot of agriculture, a lot of manufacturing. We have, of course, the city of Fort Wayne, so we have an urban area, of course, and some suburban areas. And I've been absent from Congress for the last 8 years, and so I've been very active in our community in the business space, and have worked with a lot of our banks, small, medium, large, all of them, and working to create jobs and to create better opportunities for our communities. And one of the things that I find interesting, and Mr. Flood, touched on it just a little bit of it, is the diversity in our banking system, which I find to be very beneficial as a business owner, and working with banks from whether it's startups or whether it's existing companies, agriculture, which is tricky. Not just any bank is involved in agriculture. And what I continually heard from friends in the industry is and I don't think that they even wanted to complain because they wanted to be sensitive and careful to the circumstances that we were in, but it just seemed like their hands were tied continually, in a variety of ways. And I know, one of the key themes for this hearing is just fairness, transparency, right-sizing the government. But President Trump signed an executive order which launched massive deregulation initiatives, including a provision to eliminate 10 regulations for each new regulation issued. I guess I'd be just kind of curious, would that be possible? Is that how easy would that be for the industry? And I guess, maybe especially for smaller community banks, don't have the large group of attorneys that are readily available to help. But I know that there's been a lot of hardships on the banks, which creates the hardships for small business and folks in the community that are really building up our small communities. And I'll tell you, rural communities are struggling. It's tough out there. And so that's why I believe this hearing is so important. And how can we help? And is that the right direction? I support President Trump's end goal and initiatives, but is that something that will be a useful tool?
Well, I think it is. And as we think about our theme here today, again, how are we thinking proportionally to the risks that we're trying to mitigate and manage? Because that really is what is at the core of a successful community bank is risk management. Mm-hmm. And so how do we provide, to your words, the flexibility for these banks to do the good work that they are, not just in the easy times, but more importantly in the challenging times? I mean, there's a reason that community banks make over 70% of the agriculture loans in this country, is because they're experts and they've proven their ability to stand the test of time. So to think about, to pull back, to repeal 1071, that would make that less effective or efficient. To think about the examination process in a different way for these smaller institutions. To think about their access to capital and ability to grow through the Small Bank Holding Company Act. I think there's a lot of ways that we can just think differently in a way that acknowledges the very different business model that is community banking.
Yeah, I only got a minute left, but I'd be curious, how's the next generation responding? Is there an interest in banking? Is there an interest in being a loan officer? I know we've got one particular bank that has a really nice program with the local high school, with high school students, but is there an interest? Are you seeing that across the country? Because it's important for our rural communities to be viable going forward for generations to come.
I take a personal interest in that as a third-generation community banker, making sure this goes on to the next generation. And I think exactly what you're talking about, community banks grow their own, and they do it through internships, they do it through engaging with local schools, and this is where, again, we need more of that and really creating that understanding that a career in community banking is about giving back and engaging community. It's such a wonderful story.
Yeah, my fear is too much regulation drives people apart in the relationship business. And we're constantly critiquing, the bank's critiquing customers. It's important, but at the same time, there has to be a win-win for everybody involved. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your testimony today.